So it looks like Diddy might be about to catch some more allegations because new details are coming up that are exposing his very messed up relationship with none other than Mary J Blige. Allegedly, Diddy got her pregnant in the 90s, but then forced her to get rid of it because it would make him look bad. But that's not all, because the topic of Aaliyah's suspicious death also came up, and Mary kind of hinted that Diddy might have kind of sorta had something to do with it. Allegedly. Like I said, there's a lot going on, so let's break it down. Surviving Diddy movement is in full force now because we're starting to see even more people come out and talk about their history with him, including Mary J Blige. It's wild that Diddy also treated Mary horribly, considering that they have been friends for about 30 years. Mary and Diddy first met when she got signed to Uptown Records, where Diddy was an intern under Andre Harrell. Diddy helped to produce her first two albums, What's the 411 and My Life, and both albums were big hits. They have both always spoken highly about each other, well, at least in public. Diddy spoke to People magazine and said, Mary J Blige is one of the greatest storytellers in R&B history. She created a lane for women around the world to speak their truth to power, so nobody deserves this success more than her. More than being my sister and my best friend, she will forever be a pioneer and the queen of hip-hop soul, who remains an unstoppable force that can accomplish anything she sets her mind to. Mary also talked about how Diddy was both her inspiration and her biggest cheerleader, and she said, Puff was a huge inspiration for me, she recalls. He wanted all of this for me more than I wanted it for myself. I was not as ambitious as Puff. When I met him, I was afraid of success, afraid to do anything that could put so much attention on me. When you come from where I come from, you're scared to be ambitious. You're scared to want more. And then when I met him, he was the complete opposite. He was such a good thing for me because I needed what he had, to be excited, to be seen, to have the lights on him. They've always maintained that they're just friends and nothing more, but back in the 90s, there were rumors going around that they were actually sneaking around together, and Mary got pregnant by Diddy. They both denied the rumors and went on about how people were making things up. But then they suddenly stopped working together in the mid to late 90s, and they had a very messy falling out. They were on the outs for a couple of years until they got back in the early 2000s and worked on the remix to Mary's song, No More Drama. At the time, Mary claimed that she was the reason for the split because she was such a mess. She said, the reason we split up is me not understanding the business the way I needed to understand it at the time, she explained. He had a label, he had a female artist, he had Biggie, but during the time I was really dogging myself. I was a mess on drugs. Any smart man or businessman would have moved away from me. It felt like he was becoming distant, but looking back, I now understand why. I wasn't delivering properly. I wasn't taking care of my health, so how can he roll his dice on me? But according to an insider, the real reason for the split was that Mary not only got pregnant by Diddy, but he allegedly forced her to get rid of it because he didn't want it to make him look bad. At the time, he was in a relationship with Kim Porter, who also worked at Uptown Records, and him having a baby with an artist signed to the label would have caused a huge scandal that would have made things very messy for him. So he allegedly forced her to get rid of the pregnancy, and this is the real reason that they had the messy split. And this was only in Kim Porter's tell-all book that was supposed to be released. If this is true, maybe the trauma of that experience allegedly has something to do with her changing her mind and deciding that she no longer wanted kids. She said, I have nieces and nephews forever, and I'm always watching how people are scrambling for babysitters. I don't want to go through that. I like my freedom to go and move and do what I want to do. I don't want to have to tend to someone all the time. Right now, that's where I'm at. But I don't think it's going to happen. Diddy's several accusations have caused Mary to look at the situation and realize just how messed up it truly was. But that's not all, because people have started looking at Aaliyah's death from another light and strongly hinting that Diddy and his associates might have had something to do with it. Aaliyah passed away in a plane crash right at the peak of her career, and for years there has been speculation that there was more to her death than we know. Aaliyah had been in the Bahamas shooting a music video, but what people didn't know was that she was never meant to be in the Bahamas in the first place. The video shoot was planned for Florida and everything was in place. But on the day of the shoot, the director, Hype Williams, suddenly decided to move the shooting to the Bahamas without discussing it with Aaliyah beforehand. The trip to the Bahamas went smoothly and they finished the video shoot ahead of the schedule. However, because they were ahead of schedule, there was no transportation available to take them back to Florida. Aaliyah spoke to her friend Lenny Kravitz, who sent his jet to take her home, but Hype forbade her from getting on the jet, claiming that he had made arrangements for another flight for her and the crew. But when that came, it was way too small for Aaliyah and the rest of the crew. It was overloaded and heavier than it should have been, and even worse, the pilot was high at the time. Aaliyah reportedly refused to get on the plane because she knew that something just wasn't right, but she was given a sedative and carried onto the plane unconscious. And it wasn't long before disaster struck and the plane crashed soon after takeoff. Now, Mary J Blige has always spoken about Aaliyah's passing, and not long after she passed, Mary revealed that it was a spiritual murder and there was more to it than we knew.
I just know that was a murder. You know what I'm saying? That was a spiritual murder, whether people know it or not, because God don't kill people. You know what I'm saying? Whether people know it or not. And I could go deep, but a lot of people I would have to really bring proof, you know what I'm saying, for what I learned. And she just was cut down in the prime of her life. And it's so unfair. And it wasn't time. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, I believe it wasn't her time to go, because from what I know, it ain't supposed to go down like that.
At the time, she didn't name any names, but according to insiders, one of the people she believes to have had something to do with it is Diddy. She believed that Diddy allegedly stood to profit millions of dollars from Aaliyah's passing. And the whole part about Aaliyah being drugged kind of rings similar to the stories of the women who have come out to claim that Diddy allegedly drugged them. Plus, the streets are allegedly saying that Aaliyah allegedly had some dirt on Diddy and R. Kelly. R. Kelly had tricked Aaliyah into marrying him when she was 15 and clearly underage, and R. Kelly was a fully grown man. So if the streets are saying that she had dirt on Diddy and R. Kelly, y'all better believe that she did, especially with the things that we're now hearing about Diddy. This has opened up more conversations into Diddy and his shenanigans, and fans left comments saying, Aaliyah's death is more sus 20 years later. RIP, baby girl, you were right to be scared to fly that plane, shaking my head. I can't wait till Kim Porter's book comes out, because if Diddy really gave Usher an STD, that's crazy. And if Mary J Blige was pregnant by Diddy, that's even more crazier. And what? It's the Mary J Blige being pregnant by Diddy do and getting rid of it for me. So what do you guys think about this situation and these new allegations? Drop your thoughts in the comments, then check out this next video.